this is the style of the webinar today. It is going to be a Q&A style. We'll go over a summary of what it's like. We've all closed properties, multiple properties in Calgary. We've closed properties in Calgary this year. Heck, when was it, Kyle? A month ago? Two
May.
months ago? May. Yeah. So like 6 weeks ago, we closed properties in Calgary. We're very familiar with the process. We've closed properties with multiple builders. Builders, different builders have different processes in regards to how they do things. We are here to answer all your questions because we have seen everything and stick handled everything for everyone. So it's a great forum to ask your questions, get it out, and we'll give you an overview of, well, actually, Niche, because because I just jump in and I don't set an agenda. Nish, do you want to, because you write an incredible email. Do you just want to go through the closing process from over the, let's say, the 30-day period? Just telling people what they need to do, just going through your email kind of thing as a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll preface the content of the email first by saying my goal isn't to scare you with this email, but it kind of is. And the reason is, as Alex mentioned, we've all closed properties. We've had hundreds of clients close properties. And our intent with this webinar and also with any communication that we send out is to help you avoid making the mistakes that's going to cost you money. And not just a couple of dollars. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars that we want you to keep in your pocket and not to give away unnecessarily. So when it comes to preparing for the email, you can never do things far enough in advance. So even if you don't get a possession date letter, it does not mean you can't get things going. So first and foremost, don't buy anything like a car when you're like 2 months towards your closing time, because that will impact you in a negative way, both financially and also from a credit standpoint. So make sure your finances are in place. You've contacted your mortgage partner, whether it's a broker or bank, whoever, and we have a network of people that can help you.
And can I put an asterisk right there quickly?
Of course, yeah.
So number one, contact your mortgage professional. In that, we're going to go A and B on this. Part A, we highly recommend the people we recommend. But the reason we highly recommend the people we recommend is they've closed Calgary properties before. You may go to someone you know and go, can you get me a mortgage? And they may say yes. But if they don't have experience closing Calgary properties, you will run into issues. Kyle and Nish have people use a friend of a friend or a family member to get a mortgage on a condo they've invested in Calgary.
Yes. And what winds up happening is sometimes those friendships or friends are strained. Family relationships get strained because once you have to start paying, tens of thousands of dollars because you decide to go with, a family friend or a family member, it's going to get awkward, right? Because they're not going to front the bill for you. So yes, you want to make sure these individuals that you're reaching out to, they have the experience and they have successfully completed their component of the transaction. Even if they have done maybe one or two deals in Calgary, that may not be ideal because those may have gone smoothly. But if they run into problems, they may not have the network that's robust enough to help them fill in the gaps where things kind of inevitably can go sideways. So use trusted people that we are referring, because we ourselves use these individuals for our mortgage and legal needs. So you want to contact them well in advance. You want to make sure that when they ask you to provide them with documentation, that you get it to them as quickly as possible, because on the back end, they are working. There are a lot of things that they need to do, whether it's the financial institution that they need to get the funds from. They're going to get a ton of requests as well from those financial institutions. So there's going to be a lot of back and forths. So do not leave anything to the last minute. Make sure your documents are prepared.
Then I'll go to point B. And again, this has happened. Point B, it's not about getting the best rate. It's about who can get you the money in the right amount of time. Niche and Kyle, and it's happened to both. Have people decided 2 weeks before closing to change who's providing their mortgage for them because they're trying to get a slightly better rate, maybe 25 basis points on their mortgage.
Yep, it's absolutely happened, and it's always been a disaster when people are doing that. That's where you have the time now. Now is the time to start talking to mortgage brokers to see which one you're comfortable with moving forward with. Again, we recommend ours because tried and tested. They have closed hundreds of these things. They can absolutely get it done. So don't jeopardize your entire deal trying to save a tiny bit on the interest rate. Like Alex says, go with the professionals. We're going to get the deal done for you.
And when we say tiny bit, we've had people do this. They're not able to close and they lose the deal altogether and literally have lost over $100,000. So again, to try to save a couple dollars versus losing out on the whole thing. And this Kyle will say to me, when this is separate from talking about this. This is just in general. And we'll talk mortgages. Like, hey, Alex, what, like, should I go with this bank? Should I go with this interest rate? And he's not under a time crunch. This is just him having general conversation with me. And my reply to Kyle is, Kyle, I go with the person that gets me the money. That's the mortgage that I select. So I personally, with my portfolio, when I'm coming up to a closing, it's different when you refi. This is the closing. There's a firm set date. The most important thing is the person that gets you the money. If you want to get a better rate down the road, you have flexibility to get the better rate down the road. But you have a firm date, which if you don't make that date, there are significant consequences that will cost you thousands, and if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. We say this because we've seen it happen. These are worst case scenarios that we're discussing. Are you going to fall in this category? Most likely not, but we've seen it go all the way to the worst end of it. So again, that's where Niesh was saying, going through the mortgage process, and we will go then into talk with the mortgage process, but why starting it early? Closings are different in Calgary, and documents are required not day of closing. They're required multiple days before. And again, I have lived this. The very first property I closed in Calgary, going in the mortgage, my mortgage broker is like, no big deal. They're like, why are they on top of you to get the documents? Like, I funded these deals day of, and they've closed. But that's not how it operates in Calgary and Alberta. Okay. So I've lived the experience, used someone that wasn't experienced in providing mortgages in Calgary, and this is personally. And they said to me, Alex, this is no big deal. I can get you funding day of. The issue was it doesn't work that way because you have on the documents that you sign, they require wet signatures. And what wet signatures are is that what a wet signature means is it has to be your pen. So you'll get a Zoom call with the lawyer. You have to sign with the lawyer watching you on Zoom. Then you have to take the documents and then overnight courier them to Calgary in order for the closing. And again, I lived this very first closing. I was freaking out because I had my deposit on the line and my property was up $150,000. And I thought, oh my God, the builder is going to take it away. I'm going to lose all the money. Luckily, it all went through a couple of days later. I had to pay only a little bit of interest. But I can tell you that's not the case anymore in these situations. So I've lived it. We've seen clients lose. You don't want to be in that situation, and you can avoid these situations by just being proactive with everything. And again, as we only promote our people because they have done it over 100 times. That's the reason. We've seen all the problems that can come up. That's why we recommend using our people. Again, you're more than welcome to use whoever you want. We're just giving you the advice on people that are experienced on doing that. So that was my asterisk in regards to the mortgages.
No, I think all this conversation is important because this is really where we get to share the knowledge that we've accumulated over the, past 4 or 5 years. And also things happen in different orders too, right? Like in some provinces, you register the title with the land registry office before closing. Other times is after. So you don't want to reference things from your home province because they may not apply in Alberta. So again, reinforcing the fact you want to use the experts because they know their stuff and they will guide you properly. And I think we've kind of covered a couple of items here, but I think the next piece is you might be used to buying pre-construction in your own province, like here in Ontario, where assignment sales are, are possible. Maybe not in today's market, but a few years ago, it was lucrative. In Alberta, you're not going to be able to do the same thing, right? So don't rely on maybe selling your property a month before you close because you're not able to, simply because you didn't follow the guided path that was put in front of you. That's another cost savings that we can tell you up front. And again, talking about cost extensions, they're going to charge you a lot of money to extend your closing date. And you don't want to do that because it's a simple fix. If you take care of stuff in advance, you don't have to do things last minute. And to Alex's point, you do require a wet signature, which means you have to schedule an appointment with the lawyer to do a Zoom meeting if you're not there in person so they can see you sign. And there's going to be some time for you to get that document shipped to the lawyer's office in a different province. It can take 2 to 3 days sometimes, right? And you want to account for issues that might also happen with the delivery. I've had people that followed instructions, but they kind of, overnighted it too late, thinking that it would, be enough to give a 1 day buffer. And then there was a FedEx issue and it didn't get through. Developer, I don't want to say they don't care, but they're not going to accommodate your tardiness. You will be charged. You'll be charged a significant fee plus daily interest. So we just want to reinforce, follow the path that's put in front of you, utilize the experts that we have used and trusted because they will get the job done for you.
And it's not a little bit of interest. It's a lot of interest.
23%, right?
23% on the outstanding balance. So it adds up very, very quickly.
Yeah, and that's on top of the, five. It could be range of $5,000 to a $15,000 or $20,000 extension fee that the developer will charge you. Because, it's not. I'm not suggesting that they just want to take your money, but there's a lot of things that happen on their end that we're not privy to that cost them money. It takes bandwidth on their end to have the people to now shuffle to change your closing date, whether it's the person on site that has to be there to make sure you get the keys, to whatever cost they incur for any outstanding balance on the loans that they've taken out to close the property. So there's a lot of moving parts. And this is why it's important to make sure that you don't leave things to the last minute. It does not work out well.
I just had some people requesting the link if people are wondering what I'm doing on my phone to join the webinar. There we go. Just got a few calls from people.
And also, there will be times where there's such demand for the type of property that you purchased that the developer may not be willing to provide you with an extension. And it happens. Again, it is a business. So you might lose all the deposits that you had paid, along with any fees you incurred paying your legal fees. If you don't close on time, you might get that property taken away from you and it gets sold to the next person that has the ability to close when they were supposed to. So that's another aspect of tardiness that you definitely want to avoid. That's the worst case scenario. However, there's a range of negative outcomes, and we want you to avoid every single one of them.
So I just noticed a hand raised. So if you have a question, you can just ask it in the Q&A box down below. Now, in regards to getting the property, you're going to have, if you want to get management for the property, in the email I sent out, we recommend VIP management. They've been great to deal with. All 1, 2, 3. I don't know, I just showed up again in the, I don't know how I'm in here twice.
Someone signed up.
Gone. Okay. Bye, Alex. Yeah, again, any questions you ask in the Q&A box. So VIP management, all three of us have our properties management, VIP management. For those that have purchased in East Hills that are on here, it was a fairly quick process for us to get tenancy. Like how, what, it took a month, and we had people in.
To rent all 4 of my units, it took a month.
Yeah, it's 4, and I have so 7 units between the two of us, and all were rented within a month. So it was a fairly quick process. And what I've always advised people, and this is whether it's Toronto or whether it's anywhere, price it competitively. Don't shoot for the moon for your rental pricing, especially at the beginning, because there's going to be an absorption period for all those units to get leased out. When I say all those units, I'm talking the whole building. The majority of the building is going to be investor-based units. So you want to get your unit rented out quickly, so be competitive on the pricing. You can always increase the rent in a year's time. And in Calgary, you are in a market that there is no rent control, and there are fixed term leases. So literally every year, you're able to renegotiate the lease to your benefit or to your detriment. You're able to renegotiate the lease on the property. And when I say to your detriment, I have one right now that's coming up, and the rent is unfortunately going down from what it was leased at. But you do, it's a fully free market on the properties in regards to getting the rent negotiated. So, and it's good because let's say you're looking to sell the property at one point in the future. And this is my recommendation. You know, when people reach out to me, Alex, you know, should I sell my property? If you sell the property after closing, there are tax implications for you. Whereas you're not eligible for the capital gain exemption if you sell the property right after closing. What that means, any profit, you're gonna have to take 100% of that into your income versus 50%. If you wait 1 year, so if you put a tenant in for 1 year, and then if you sell after 1 year, then you can get a 50% reduction on the amount of taxes owed. That's the capital gain exemption. So instead of taking 100% of the profit into your income, you only take 50% of the profit into your income. So I always say to people, you're better off holding it for a year and then selling so you can reduce your taxable expense. On top of that, you'll be in a situation if you're going to sell the property right after closing, it may be empty for a couple months. So you got to factor in those additional expenses of it being empty as well. So just things to factor in. If you do want to sell right after closing, we have a team on the ground that can assist you with that. Going back to talking about lawyers, we recommend Chestermere Law, Erin Leslie. She is the #1 lawyer in Calgary for closing pre-construction properties. And then also specifically closing out of province pre-construction properties. #1, she has relationships with the builders as well and with the builders' lawyers. Again, we always focus on experience. Experience allows the deals to get done. They foresee potential issues. And if there's an issue, they know how to navigate the issue. If you're not using someone that experienced and an issue comes up, then it's much more difficult to navigate the issue. So again, the trusted people, oh, and speaking of trusted people on the insurance as well, don't wait on insurance either. Go and set up your insurance. Again, Kyle and Niesh, how many times do you get people panicked at the last minute and they're trying to get insurance, and then they go to their insurance and they're not able to get insurance because of the building's insurance deductible?
Yeah, I've had someone try to set it up day of, and funny enough, our lawyer Erin, she was able to have it coordinated. So that's how, using people that know what they're doing, they can get miracles done that other people wouldn't be able to.
And so what I reference, and this will be an issue that comes up. What I'm referring to is the insurance deductible for the building. Okay, things are different in Alberta than they are in Ontario. So in Alberta, if there's a claim in the building, there's a deductible in the building, and that can be charged back to your unit. So what you need to have insurance in place for that deductible amount, because it's a large amount. I think it's 50,000, right, Kyle? I think, or Niesh?
It's gone up to, I think it's maybe 25,000 or 30,000. I don't know if it's 50.
I thought it was
but
50,000.
Yeah, I think it just went up to 50,000
Did
from
it? Okay.
25,000.
Okay.
And you guys know on the call, like, what is he talking about? $50,000. That's a massive number. You get insurance for it. But if you talk to a regular insurance broker, they'll have no idea what you are talking about. Our insurance broker knows what we're talking about and knows the right insurance contacts to get the deal done. It's like easy. He's like, no problem. Boom, done. 1 minute. But if you go to some, let's give an example. Kyle, who was the most recent one where someone went through and they got denied insurance? Can't remember. But I'm just saying, like, if you go, well, I can tell you this, I've been through this. If you like an Ontario insurance broker can't get you insurance in Alberta. They have to be licensed in Alberta. So again, it's important to use the right contacts because it's these little things. Again, I've lived it as well. Like I waited to the last minute on my very first Calgary property, no big deal. I'll go to my guy, I'll get the insurance. I forgot to get insurance. It slipped my mind. Um, and they're like, oh, we can't do that. And because I have a blanket, I don't want to get into talk about a blanket insurance, this kind of thing. But I have a blanket policy and I thought I could just add it to my blanket policy. And they're like, no, we can't do that. A, it's a freehold property. And then B, it's in another province. I'm like, oh, shoot. And then I was running around the last minute. It was incredibly stressful. And this was on top of like the wet documents and everything like that. I've lived the stress. I know these things. But if you use the contacts we give, it will eliminate 90% of the stress of going through it. Because they're like, nope, we've done this. We've done this a bunch of times. So highly recommend on the insurance side, reaching out to the insurance contact that we provided in the email, because they know the exact insurance to get in the building and they get it done. That you can get the insurance docs to your lawyer, because why insurance is so important is you can't get a mortgage without providing the insurance documents. And if you don't provide the insurance documents, no mortgage. Speaking of that, utility setup. Utilities are different in Alberta than Ontario. What we mean by that is it's interesting out there. They have competition in their utility field. So there are multiple providers that you can sign up to provide the same utilities for the building. NMAX is the one we recommend using out in Alberta in regards to setting up utilities in the building. And you don't want to wait till the last minute. You want to go start, if you have a unit coming up, signing up and getting your utilities in place for your property. Because again, that's generally a requirement to have that done and confirmation sent before final closing on the building.
And both Alex and I ran into problems setting up utilities for one of our units where we had to email, call into customer service and get it sorted. So it took a couple days. So
Yeah.
I'll always do it well in advance.
Yeah. Because you don't know what the hiccups are. And Colin, I'll tell you what our hiccup was. It's because we bought multiple units. It's like their system didn't recognize that one person can own multiple units closing at the same time. So we ran into issues because he had 4 and I had 3 closing, and it's like do not compute that kind of stuff. And it all ended up working out. But you want to give yourself time in case you have these headaches. If you have one unit, it shouldn't be an issue, but you don't know what it is. Oh no, there's the other issue that comes up when people signing up for it, when they ask for the credit checks, right? How do they end up so when you're signing up for your utilities, you want to go for pre-authorized. That avoids the credit checks, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So again, these are little things that happen, but people start freaking out. When you sign up for your utilities, sign up for pre-authorized. If you don't sign up for pre-authorized, they're going to send you down a rabbit hole for credit checks and everything like that. And then it'll be like unable to process your credit check. Then you're not able to set up your utilities. Then you're freaking out because you're like, my lawyer requires me to show utility confirmation and I can't get confirmation because they need to do the credit check. It's going to take 4 business days. What's going on? Help, 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 help.
Yeah, and I can see this question coming down the pipe as well. Like you do need to set up your own insurance, even if you are not in the rental incentive program, and the tenant will be the one that will take over the payment of the utilities. They will be responsible for setting up the utilities as part of their lease agreement. But you still, as the owner, need to be on record, because if there's anything that goes sideways or there's a gap in between tenancy, you will be the default. But again, if you are having the tenant pay for it, they will begin the payment process when they take possession.
Yeah, so I'll go right to Nish's example because Kyle and I just did it in East Hills. We had to set up your utilities and all our units beforehand. So it was set up. 1 month later, we got our cancellation notices once the tenants all set up their utilities for the units. It's just a step that's required in all of it. And it's something you can easily forget as you're going through. And okay, I've got my mortgage. I'm all good. Oh, I need to get insurance. Oh, I haven't set up utilities. Oh my God. And you're running around at the last minute trying to get that stuff done. And things run at a different pace in a different way out there than they do here in Ontario. So just good to get to know these things and have them done beforehand. And again, it's 90, if you do these things, you're not gonna have any issues on closing or anything like that, and it'll be smooth. But we're here to not alarm you, but just make sure you're on the game getting these things done. Looks like we got some questions in the Q&A. So if someone asks any idea about current rental rate for 2 bedroom. So in regards to rental rates, what we can do is if you reach out to VIP, they can give you all the numbers because different buildings, different locations have different rental rates. A rental downtown is going to rent more for than a rental that is going to be in the East Hills neighborhood. So it's good to that. But again, you reach out to the VIP contacts. And if you're like, hey, Alex, I want a personal introduction to one of these contacts, absolutely. We will provide the personal introductions. That's no problem at all. We can assist you with that. Looking at, can you recommend an insurance broker? Yep. So the insurance, again, that is Sproul Insurance. All those are in the email advising people, hey, reach out to these contacts. And once you get through the closing process, things are easy and you get the tenant in there. The good thing, it's the right time of year to be leasing units. You're in the summer months. Activity is better in the summer months. When you're trying to lease things in December and January, especially in Calgary, it's cold then. Like people don't want to move in December and January. So the great news is that people on this call are getting your units at the right time to get your property leased out. It's the ideal time of year. Let's see, any more questions popping up here? Does anyone else have any questions on here? I'm trying to think of anything else that we can cover. Appraisals. Again, working with your mortgage broker, you want to get the appraisals in there as soon as possible. A lot of these times too, especially if you're in a rental guarantee program, let's say at Frontier, there could be a tenant already in your unit because the builder pre-leases the units out and they then have to coordinate to access the unit to get the appraiser in, and that can take some time. So we have had it where it's a day before closing, and like we got to get the appraiser, and it's like, oh, this isn't going to go well. We're not getting the appraiser in within 2 hours notice. So again, this is where you're pushing back on. Well, again, if you have experienced people, they know. They know, like if you're working with the experienced people, if you're working with the experienced mortgage broker, they know. This is again more of a Frontier thing than an East Hills thing because most people probably opted out of the East Hills rental guarantee. But if you're in the rental guarantee program at Frontier, then and your closings are later, most likely later than the East Hills ones. Truman gives you more notice than Minto does for closings. For the Frontier closings, we're probably looking at September. Again, you want to start working on it now because that appraisal could take a week because it's all about getting actual access to the unit. If there's someone in the unit, then they have to get the proper notice and get the person in, and things we've experienced before when we're dealing with that. Okay, it looks like
Truman requires a minimum of 10 days notice for an appraisal. They're not going to be day before or anything giving you special access. Trust me.
Yes, because I trust you. You may think it is urgent, it is needed, They will assist me. They will not. We have closed hundreds on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these. We've experienced, and there's a reason why we do this webinar. So we give you guys enough notice to get yourself set up for that situation. Again, it's all about working with the right experts that know how to get the deal closed for you in the right way to minimize your stress.
Yeah, and my rule of thumb for mortgages is you want to have a firm mortgage approval about 4 weeks before closing, because that gives more than enough time to get the mortgage instructions to the lawyer and to conduct the appraisal as well. Easily doable with Truman giving, typically about 90 days notice for condos. There's no reason that you can't hit those timelines.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, work with the people that we recommend. They know what they're doing. Zoe, I see your hand is raised. If you want to ask a question in the box down below, we can get that question.
It is in the
answered.
open questions, Alex.
Oh, it's in the, oh, I'm in the answer. That's the problem. Okay, sorry guys, I was on the wrong tab. If you're not an investor and are planning to occupy the unit, what are some of the requirements related to interprovincial moves? Requirements for interprovincial moves. I think you just
There are none. There's no special requirements.
Yeah. You just move.
Update your license once you move.
Yeah. There's no, we've had people move in, that kind of thing. You're just going to be moving. And then in regards to any of their interpret, like as Kyle said, license, health card, those are different things. But in regards to the closing of the property, there isn't anything that's really required. But congratulations on your move. That's exciting. Far more affordable in Alberta than it is in Ontario. Is window cover or blinds necessary for rental units at East Hills? Great question. I didn't do any. Did you, Kyle?
They come included.
Oh, they came included. Okay, good answer. That was
The only type of property that don't would be the freehold properties. They typically require the hardware as well.
You know what? Ding, ding, ding for that question. Because I don't think we've had that question before, but that's a really good question about the window coverings. So in Toronto, they don't. And usually we have our installer come in and install the window covering. So that was a great question. And Kyle, thanks for answering.
And in Toronto, I always do install them, get nice roller blinds, because you don't want your tenants messing around with curtain rods and all that sort of stuff. They're going to cause way more damage. So they're not that expensive. It's by far worth the investment to do it for the tenants.
Absolutely. So great point you brought up. So this is just general investment etiquette. That's etiquette, general investment advice. So one day you may decide to exit this property, right? And this is whether it's Toronto, whether it's Alberta, anywhere in the world. You want to then look at the property. Let's say the property sells tenant in when you're selling. And if you, as Kyle said, if you have all these crappy curtain rods in the property, drilled holes everywhere, everything like that, it just looks terrible, then that's going to impact your sales value of the property. So for a minimal investment of getting window coverings installed, you're going to increase the value of the property when it sells is going to look better. That's essentially what it is. So and again, it's not required unless it's freehold, but no one in here is closing freehold today. The window coverings are included, which is great, but just general practice is I've always installed my own window coverings. If the builder didn't include them, I've always installed my own window coverings at all my properties. And again, you want to do it yourself because you want it to be done right and look good. That's essentially what it is. Okay, great. Is there a question on the RG? I just noticed that someone's asking, they're referencing that they're in the RG program at Frontier. So am I. I'm in the RG program at Frontier. So when you're in the RG program, most likely there is already a tenant in the property prior to closing. Not always. It's not always the case, but there could be a tenant in the property. And then I believe you start getting payments maybe 60 days in. They do reference when payments start coming in on the FAQ that came through in the email. So so if you're closing a Truman property, I included the link to the FAQ, which has a section which discusses on when they're going to be providing the RG payments. And I also included that link. Oh, and then it's also in the link on your the confirmation email that goes out to you. Another good thing in a reference in the email, when you're dealing with your mortgage company, they may ask for additional schedules that are referenced in the purchase and sale agreement, schedules A to J or something along those lines. Those I included a link in the email to where those schedules are. So those schedules are referenced in the contract on page 26 of your contract. There's a link that goes to all those different schedules. Those schedules are just your condo docs. So if you were signing a deal in Toronto per se, you would have a USB key typically with all those condo docs. They reference it on a link that's in the contract that then brings you to all the condo docs in there. So again, we've had it where people are like, we can't find schedules A to J. My mortgage broker needs it immediately. Just for your reference, I included a link in the email to show you where those schedules are. It's also on page 26 of your agreement. And again, we're always happy to provide that to you if you request and your mortgage representative requests that. Any other questions from anyone?
To expand on the question that was asked, Alex, because I answered it in the chat and didn't realize I didn't say it to everybody here, but the question was what utilities and what other things do you need to set up when you are in the rental guarantee program or just when you're taking possession? So you will also receive two separate vendors reaching out to you. Your condo management company, it'll most likely be Catalyst Condos. They are responsible for managing the property, not the tenant, the property. So you will need to fill out the documents that they send you. So they have you as the owner on record. And then whichever payment company that they use as well will email you. The one that Catalyst uses, I think it's called Pluto Payments. And they're the ones that will actually deduct the monthly payments from the account or set up the payment structure the way you want it set up. So those two companies are legit. I get that question all the time. So those two additional things will also be something you'll have to create an account for. You don't need to set up cable, internet, or a landline. That's really up to the tenant. If they want that in their unit, which most likely they will, they'll set that up. But again, if you are going to be occupying the unit, I know we have some owner occupiers here, then you would set that up based on whichever company you want to go with. But you don't have to do that as a landlord.
Perfect.
And then property taxes as well. So you don't need to set that up. The city of Calgary is going to set it up automatically for you. But depending on the timing of your closing, the property taxes may not yet be assessed. So you're going to receive a bill from the city of Calgary that you'll have to pay later, or you might have to prepay your property taxes as part of your closing process. Your lawyer is going to let you know what you need to pay. If you do prepay the property taxes and then you receive a bill from the city of Calgary for that same calendar year, then the developer would need to refund you for the property taxes that you paid. So just watch out for that. But setting up the actual property tax account is done by the city of Calgary automatically.
I think I saw a video about that recently.
Perfect. Okay, guys, any more questions you want to ask in the Q&A box down below? Let me check the no open questions. I hope that we've answered everyone's question. Again, we're all available here to help and assist you for a smooth closing of your property. We want you to have a smooth closing for your property. We've seen it all. We've seen it all in regards to various obstacles that people may have. But again, it's all about using the right contacts to get your deals closed. So we wish you all a happy closing, and we're here to hold your hand. The last thing we can stress, don't wait to the last minute. Don't wait to the last minute. Do not wait to the last minute. And if you're not getting responses from the people you're dealing with, whether it's a lawyer or whether it's a mortgage company, use our contacts is essentially what you want. So we wish everyone well, and again, especially it's the summer, so you want to be on top of these things because you deal with a lot of holiday situations and everything like that. Yes, and Laura, yes, this was all recorded, and it will go out to everyone as well. So thank you, everyone. Oh, and we'll include, because Erin, our recommended lawyer, she has a closing checklist as well with a lot of these dates. We'll make sure that's sent out to everyone as well, in that email. So there's a lot of information, great information that she provides. And we can't stress enough that Erin is the best. So
I also promised them for you that we'll include contacts of the other network individuals that we use.
Yep, of course. Yep. Awesome. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. And we'll talk to everyone soon. Okay. See ya.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Happy closing.